Hey everybody, it's Christian Buckley doing another MVP Buzz Chat, and I'm talking today with Ruben. Hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ruben. I'm from Barcelona, and I got the MVP in Azure Foundry like 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm really happy to be here together with you, Christian.
And I know that, so I think you are the first Azure AI Foundry MVP that I've interviewed. But for those that don't, so we actually worked together like 8 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't know.
long time ago.
Yeah, anything after COVID, I'd say all blurs together the time frame. So was it 3 years ago or 10 years ago? I don't know, somewhere in there. But no, it's great to see you. And so I always like to ask because that people are interested in to know the origin story of becoming an MVP. And so you're as a fresh, brand new MVP. What was that process like? Because it's always a little different for everybody. But what was that journey
Yes.
like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I always like it to write like a good post because one of the important parts, like now I recall myself, is like how important is to have a good mentor, right? When you are junior, when you are starting, and then I was thinking like, okay, if someday I'm able to get MVP, I will remember people to help me to be where I am, right? Because at the end, we are who we are because all the experience that we had and all the companies that we were working, all the people that we met, right?
Yeah.
Then for me, it took like 15 years because I started like I had a photo from a friend of mine and he told me, okay, see, that was you. And that's something I put in my LinkedIn post. Like that was you 12 years ago, and it was my first presentation. It was in Subcat in SharePoint user group. Where we were using SharePoint on-prem and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was doing a presentation about SharePoint REST API, Knockout, etc. And it was my first presentation. It was 12 years ago. And then I mean, sometimes I mean people takes less time. In my case, it took a long, and because I was not really obsessed on getting it. I mean, for me it was like, okay, I want to share, I want to present, I want to talk. I mean, something that I liked it when I joined SharePoint user group is like I was able to talk with people that has the same motivation than me, that they like it the same than me. And for me it was like, okay, this is a hobby. I mean, it was hard to explain to my fathers, like, okay, where are you going? No, it's an organization, but this is work. No, this is not work. I mean, this is something else. And sometimes it's hard to explain when I'm going to an event or I'm going a presentation. They tell me, but this is work. No, that's not work. I mean, this is something that I like. I mean, it's another hobby. I mean, I have a hobby that it's table tennis that I like a lot. Then for me, it's like another hobby, right? Then I've been in a lot of companies. I'm really grateful for all the mentors that I had because I've been in 6-7 different consultancies. And at the end, for me, it was like jumping, right? Like first, I started as a junior. I've been in Raona like 3 years. After that, I jumped to another consultancy, Devo team, that I was around 2 years. And then here I was like more senior. And then in Raona, I was doing like some presentation, but not much because, I was junior. I had knowledge, but not that much. I was kind of scared, like, okay, what people will think about, etc. And then after that, when I was jumping to the other companies and I had more experience, etc., then I was more keen to share, right? But it was like a long journey, but at the end it's because I was not really obsessed on the objective. For me, it was like, okay, I'm doing what I like. And at the same time, always, I think like sharing and doing presentation, it's a way that it forces you to be updated because how can you explain? I mean, always I say, if you cannot explain it in a plain words, like your grandmother can understand it, you don't know it, right? Then you need to learn and you need to explain. Also, something that I learn right now is like it produced me like a very good soft skills in terms of how to explain, how to talk with people, how to understand what they want, not, etc. Right? Then that was also another important thing, and also personal brand. I mean, now a lot of gurus they are talking about personal brand, etc. But that's something we started 10 years ago, and no one knows anything about personal brand. But it was personal brand because it was showing what you know, what not, etc. Then yeah, I mean, it was very very long journey, I will say.
It's it's interesting. I mean, you mentioned this too, especially with the personal branding, but also with like the various mentors, is that how much it's not just about the technical knowledge in depth. It's also about the journey, and the soft skills development around that. While there are some very like highly intelligent MVPs, there's a lot of cockiness that's out there. They're very self-assured, which is it's difficult to get past that when you're wicked smart, but having some degree of humility goes a long way, especially in this program. Like, there are people from a technical standpoint, and they're doing great things out there, but have no chance of becoming an MVP just because they're buying into their own marketing. They are just jerks. I don't know, is the best way to say it out there. Like, you have to be doing it for the right reasons. I mean, I'm sure you say, like I say all the time, like, I would be doing the things that I do regardless of the MVP. If they canceled the program, turned it off, I would do the exact same things. Nothing would change in my day to day.
Yes. No, I think the important part is, like, at the end, the people that you met there are not like strange people, are like friends. I mean, it's something that I like when I go to an event that it's outside Barcelona, etc. It's like, okay, I want to go to the event because I want to meet my friends, because that people for you are like friends already, right? Because you meet them a lot of times, etc. Then it's like building a community. I mean, that's why community has sense, because it's not like random people that you see. It's like people that you see almost in all the event, right? Then it's like a friendship. And also, for me, the important part is like you get a very easy connection, because you have the same hobby. I mean, it's not but the same interest, right? It's you like the same. Then if you go to like tennis, basketball, football, whatever, at the end you can get a connection because with that people, because you share the same, right? Then it's the same. Then not everyone, I mean, during my career, like not everyone is really interested in technology, in progress, in keep updated. I mean, some people simply they work for money, and when it's time they simply go home, etc., and that's all, and they don't care, right?
Yep. No, it's a something that I love seeing too are like collabs. And I hate this phrasing, the whole like content creator influencer world that's out there. They talk a lot about doing collabs within the community. And that's something that, honestly, I wish that there were more people that would like. I've got 2 projects I'm working on right now, 3 projects I'm working on right now with other people through the community, where we had an idea, we had kind of agreed on this. It's we're going to go put something kind of help each other with the content and the deliverables around it, but we're doing something kind of joining forces around that. And one thing I often say to advice to people who are interested in becoming MVPs is if you have ideas, there's things that you're writing about or speaking on, if you reach out to existing MVPs and say, hey, saw your session, read your article, read your book on this, whatever that is, I'd love to join forces and do something together, a webinar or a video, or co-present a session together. Like, I would love to get more of those contacts, more of those opportunities. And so that's a way that, again, doing these collabs is a great way to network, to meet people, to develop your own skills and learn from others. I don't know if you've done anything like that, or if that was part of your journey, collaborating with existing MVPs.
I mean, is one of the most important part, and with what you mentioned, I think this is one key part. I mean, being able to have an MVP mentor who is able to mentor during the journey, that's something important. In my case, it was Luis Mañez, that he's also Azure Foundry MVP, and then he was the one that helped me during the process. Like, okay, let's do a session together, etc. I can help you with that, etc. Then after my post in LinkedIn, as I put it like, okay, if you want help, just send me an inbox and DM, right? And then some people send me a DM like, okay, Ruben, I would like to join. I would like to be part of the community, or I'm junior and I would like to start. And then I told the same, more or less the same, like, okay, the first thing that you need to do is like try to find communities that are close to you. Okay, then that's the first thing. Can be online, on person, doesn't matter. If you are not able to find it, that's okay. I mean, just try to contact people that are in those communities and get involved. You don't need to start like doing a presentation. You can simply start as volunteer. like helping them with the organization and all the stuff. And then after that, you will get comfortable, and then you will start maybe doing presentation. I mean, it's not really required to do presentation. I mean, you can simply like help them organizing, and then after that, you can write some posts. But at the end, one of the important part is like, okay, now you are more senior, you have more experience, and then you need to help other people to go to that journey, right? Like to learn. And then, as I said, I think even being selfish, like doing it is like you're helping people, and also you're helping yourself because you are like keeping up to date, right? Then this is the best thing that you can do, to be honest. But it's true, like it takes some time. That's not something you can do from 1 month to another. It's like, okay, you need to meet people. After that, you can evaluate yourself, like, okay, from extrovert, from 0 to 10, how extrovert I am, right? How are my talking skills, presentation skills? And then after that, like, you need to build like a plan. And after that, I mean, you don't need to really need MVP. I know a lot of people that are doing organization, etc., and they are not MVP, and it's okay, but because they like to be part of the community, but they don't want to go beyond, and it's fine. Okay, it's fine also, right? Then you need to find where do you want to be, right? But the most important part is like share, like meet people that share the same than you, etc. And this is what it's about, let's say.
Yeah, it's so much of it. But again, if you have no interest in becoming MVP, there's always value in participating in the community and giving back. You'll learn something, you'll be able to teach and share, you'll make connections that could turn into a future job, making it easier when you have to hire people, finding project work, whatever that is. I mean, there's always going to be, I always say like there's always the selfish reasons for community. It's not really selfish, and there's benefits that are out there to being active in the community.
Yes,
but ultimately, you should do it for the right reasons. You're there because you want to help people and learn.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested because you're my first, I believe, I'll have to go back and check my list here, but Azure AI Foundry MVPs. What's the scope of of your MVP? What are you working on? What are you most excited about from a technology standpoint?
Yes, that's a good question. I mean, it's funny because in my journey during different companies, etc., I was simply swapping from one technology to another because I was really passionate, and I say, okay, now I want to do something different. Then let's start, right? Then, like 2 years ago, I was doing like custom development, etc., and I thought, okay, that AI, that's something interesting. Maybe I should jump on, right? Then I spent like the whole summer like reading, etc., and then I started getting into it. And then it's when I started like playing. I mean, basically, the whole objective is to be able to consume, right, the models in the cloud, and also be able to build applications using models and all this stuff, right? Then Azure Foundry at the end, or how I'm using it right now, is like 1 year, a couple of years ago, I started building projects. And then the most common project, there are like 2 types of projects that are like common, like the chatbot, I mean, like Copilot, but at the end it's in a different use cases. I mean, usually when we have a use case inside the company, it's like, okay, what do you want to achieve? Like, okay, I have those documents are inside Microsoft 365. Okay, perfect, Copilot. Okay, I want to access some APIs. Okay, let's try Copilot Studio. Okay, I have a lot of documentation that it doesn't have access to API. It's not in any internal system. Okay, then we can try like all the setup and infrastructure in Azure. Okay, then this is one of the projects that we are doing. We are doing like normally it's like a chatbot, but the information it's not present in any of the Microsoft 365 boundaries, let's say. Okay, then this is one use case. Or maybe you have like a huge amount of data, and then that's not something that can process Copilot at the moment. And then we are doing it in a custom way. Okay, then the benefit is like we are using all the infrastructure that it's available in Azure, and then we are consuming the models that are in Azure. Okay, then the benefit that it gives to us at the end, it's like first of all, scalability, because it's funny, when I was starting my first AI project, that I told to my boss, okay, we need to spend like $3,000 to buy some graphic cards and put it in the server. And then it was like, no way, we need to find another way. Then it was, okay, in Azure we can deploy some models, and then we can use it from them. And how much it costs? Nah, some dollars. Okay, go ahead, right? Then one of the benefits is like, okay, you have models, you have a lot of variety, you have scalability. the cost of doing proof of concept is super cheap, because at the end you are paying only for the tokens. Then you start the proof of concept, you build it, and after that, I mean, taking count that in the AI world, the proof of concepts, most of them dies because several reasons, like the data is not in a good way, they want to achieve something different, maybe the model is not able to do what they are trying for. I mean, for example,
what the actual cost will be when it's put in production, it exceeds what the perceived value of that, and that's a real thing too. Yeah,
that's another thing. The good part, the good part, and this is always what I say, like, okay, if it's expensive, just wait 1 year, because then it will be cheaper, right? And that's one of the benefits. Then, as you can see, I mean, sometimes the proof of concept simply dies because several reasons, right? Then building an MVP, connecting it to Azure, etc., it's super cheap. Then you do the proof of concept, you evaluate if it has sense to go or not, and after that, okay, I don't want to go, perfect, we simply shut it down, and that's all. In the opposite, it will be like doing like a very high investment upfront, and then after that, if you don't want to continue, it's like, okay, what we do with the graphic cards? We sell it in the second-hand market or what, right? Then this is one of the type of projects that we do, and then the second one that they started right now, more with the agents and agentics, is like automation. Like now it's like automation, but in the next level, like you are automating, but then you are using agents that are taking actions, right? Then those are the two type of projects. I mean, it's true, like now with Copilot Studio, you have this how it's called, these autonomous agents, right?
Yeah.
Then it's trying to do the same, but more in the enterprise way. I mean, the benefit of Azure is like you can continue doing your projects in an enterprise way, and then you have also all the capabilities from AI, right? Then that's basically the benefit from Azure AI Foundry. Like, okay, I mean, usually if you have your partner that is Microsoft and you are working with them, I mean, it has sense. I mean, it has no sense to set up like Amazon Web Service or Oracle or even OpenAI if you have already Microsoft, right? Then it's okay. Even something that we do also like quite often is like we have an application that is working, and then we would like to add AI capabilities. Then it's quite straightforward, because it's like, okay, we set up the model, we do the deployment, we put the code, etc., and then we add AI capabilities to starting or current application, right?
Yeah, it's well, I mean, that's a big part of Microsoft's pitch, is that, hey, you don't need to go reinvent the wheel. You can just quickly tap into all these components, build again the proof of concept, go build your MVP, prove it out, look at the scalability of it. I heard there's a great line. See if I have it written down. Yeah, I was doing an interview last week with we have like our governance show with Ragnar Heil, and we had Richard and Joy Apple, and we had Richard Harbridge on, and he was talking about pilots, and I loved what he said. I think I have it in my notes here. So yeah, he said the way to build out pilots, and this is true, so true for AI, I mean, it just fits right in, is like when you go in pilot, this is their recommendation to clients are focus on safety first. So are we doing something? Is it responsible? Is it ethical? Is it, kind of all those sides of it? Is it compliant? So it takes that standpoint where, it's going to do the functionality we want, but is it going to do it the right way and not get us in trouble? Then the second one is the efficacy. Like, is it actually delivering the business value that was intended? And then the third one is scalability. And I know that, a lot of, engineers and hardware focused people, like they go right for the scalability, the architecture, that side of it first, but all that's irrelevant if it's, not built the right way, if it's not meeting the business needs, then looking at those bigger picture things. But you can still speed up that entire process of piloting by working with Microsoft.
No, for sure. I mean, and also one important point that you mentioned is like having the models in Azure AI Foundry. You have already one layer of the responsible AI and all this stuff. Then when you have a model on-prem, you need to care yourself about everything, because it's like the Wild West, because it's open source. You simply download the model, open source, you're running in your server, and that's all. But having it in Azure, it doesn't mean like you simply don't care, but at least you have one layer, like, okay, we have something. Okay, we have something already in place, and after that you have some controls, like you can do some customization, etc. Then that's also another benefit added to it. And then, as you mentioned, always we try to focus in business value. Like, okay, what do you want to try? We want to try to answer questions based on that documentation, or we want to try to build like estimations based on that. Okay, then let's focus on that, and then when it's working, later on we can see how to scale it. But this is the benefit. Like if you have hardware, after that you need to do another investment. Like it's true, like in long term, if you are production, etc., maybe can be cheaper because at the end you do the investment and that's all, right? But for us, I mean, now being developer is it's much better doing it in Azure because you have control, etc., easy to scale. If you need to deploy to different like regions in the whole world, you can do it, like one in US, one in Sweden, one in Spain, wherever, then it's super easy.
Yeah. I just love what you were talking about earlier with the two cards. It's like, what do we do with this hardware? We're going to kill this. That was always through most of the first 2/3 of my career working with on-prem platforms was constantly like, was one, waiting to order new hardware, getting new servers in, two, constantly repurposing those, servicing those. Yeah, it was still, even when I left Microsoft, I mean, so much of my life was, walking in the office, we had a server rack right by the front door and running all of our Hyper-V stuff there, and how finicky Hyper-V was over, I loved it. There was great stuff about it, but over VMware. And about a year later, we moved entirely to VMware. So not knocking the Microsoft team for that, but being out in the field, I liked it working every time I turned it on. So
and after that, and after that, they commission all the servers that are not intended to be used anymore, right? Then it was okay. What is it? What is a SQL? The SQL is being shared by different servers. Okay, we need to kill that one, but be sure like the application or the SharePoint server is still running. I mean, I'm not IT guy, and for me, always it was like a pain. It was always as a pain.
It was always. I have to say that some of my favorite stories was working with a friend on my team, Derek O'Laughlin, who owned that process of the repurposing hardware. And there were hundreds, if not thousands, of servers. The early days of SharePoint Online and BPOS, MMS BPOS, and Office 365. And he would do those emails out saying, okay, of the however many thousands of servers, like here's a list of 1,000 that we don't know what's on them, we don't know who owns them, so in 30 days we're gonna shut down. And then you get like 100 of them would respond, and okay, here did we got, and then at the end of the 30 days remove permissions, and then you get a percentage that would be like, hey, what happened to my machine? And but then you'd say you give like another 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it was, inevitably like no one ever responded in like a 6-month process, so we shut them all down and wipe them. And then you'd have a percentage that would freak out and be like, hey, what happened to my machine? It's like, hey,
where are my documents? Where are my SharePoint documents?
Like it's gone, buddy. You didn't respond for 6 months to all of this stuff. So but it's again, adventures in on-prem world. It's good to have those memories. Well, Ruben, one last question for you. So I always like to hear like advice for somebody that's interested in becoming an MVP, specifically over in the Azure AI Foundry world. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of opportunity that are over there. What advice do you have for somebody that might be interested in going that direction?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the most important, first of all, is like probably what will be easier is like if you are already, I mean, in my case, for example, is like I was doing Microsoft 365, I was doing custom development, etc. And then it was like, okay, just try to find a use case where do you think that generative AI can be useful? Okay, because sometimes it's hard when you are from one field and you need to switch. Because when you switch, you need to switch as a junior, etc. And then if you are already old, I mean, I have 37 years already, then I consider myself quite old, I will say. Then it's difficult, right? But if you are already working in one company, you have one client, then just try to find one use case, right? And then just tell them, okay, I would like to do that proof of concept. I know that this is gonna bring value because, I mean, for sure the most important is try to highlight the value, like which value is giving, right? And then after that, you do a proof of concept, and then if that's successful, then later on you can go production, right? Then the best thing that I can advise to anyone is just try to get experience, because I mean, you can learn, you can have a course, etc. But at the end, what it's gonna give you like real thing how it works is like testing it, experience, working, right? Even
Right.
if you, that's something people ask to me, like, okay, in my work, I don't have any opportunity, etc. There's just try to join an open source community or open source project, right? Because the most important is like try to find something that it gives value. Doesn't matter if it's in your company or open source, etc. And work on it, right? And then after that, in 1 year, you're gonna have a lot of experience, because the reality right now is like not many people has experience on that. And taking count that generative AI in our case is a bit special because we are not using Python. I mean, we are like kind of weird people, right? Because usually when we are talking with people, etc., it's like, you use Python. No, I don't use Python because I'm .NET developer and I'm full stack developer and I want to continue using .NET. I mean, it's true, like we have like less opportunities, or if you compare semantic kernel that it's like that is the open source from Microsoft, etc., versus LangChain, etc., maybe it's not so advanced, but at the end we are able to do projects, right? Then if you ask me, this is what I did. Then 2 years back, I thought, okay, I need to find a use case. I need to find, because okay, you can have the theory, right? But later on you need to apply, right? Then it's like try to get the theory, later on try to find a use case, try to do an MVP. Maybe you can do it in your own time if the company doesn't want to. Like, okay, I want to do it in my own time, and then I show you. Then when you prove value, the project will come. And if it's not in your company, it's gonna be open source, whatever. And this is the perfect way to get into it. I mean, if the company tell you, okay, let's do the project, that's perfect. But sometimes it's not the case, right?
Well, you can always ask Copilot for like, what are some good, here's my role, here's what I'm working on. What are some ideas for ways that I could better leverage, AI in here? How can I improve the efficiencies of my department for the rest of the company?
Exactly.
I mean, that's one of my favorite things about generative AI is for ideation. Just feed it the information, have a conversation with it. You're going to find those opportunities, and then go prove it out, just like you said.
Yeah. I use generative AI a lot during my daily basis. I mean, I use GitHub Copilot. I mean, I use Copilot, ChatGPT also, etc. Perplexity, Cloud. I mean, I'm using all of them. Then simply you need to try to find the best for each use case, right? I mean, GitHub Copilot, it works very good with your code, etc. Copilot for your documents. Then you need to find. But at the end, the AI, it will help you to speed up. And also something that it's important, and something that I say in my trainings, like AI is not gonna replace you. It's gonna replace you someone that knows AI, because it's gonna go much faster than you. And also, sorry, as you mentioned, the ideation part. I mean, sometimes when you are stuck, it's like, okay, can you give me like 5 different angles, perspective of that problem, etc. And then it's like it gives you options. Maybe doesn't need to be the correct one, but at least you are able to think about, right? Then there are a lot of options to use AI. Then you need to find which is the best for your case.
Exactly. Well, Ruben, really appreciate your time. It was great catching up. It's been a few years, so maybe I'll see you one of these times at one of these events as I start to increase travel back over in your part of the world.
Next year we are gonna see you in MVP Summit.
Oh, that's right, and there's the summit. That's right.
Yeah,
Don't want to miss that. Yeah.
I'm really excited to be there. I mean, I just started checking like the flights, hotel, etc. And I think it's for being MVP is probably the best experience going MVP Summit in person. Then I hope we can meet there next year in March.
It is the number one perk of being an MVP, is that community gathering once a year. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Ruben, we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. See you.